voting today. We don't know whether the votes will be today or tomorrow. But it's absolutely critical time right now in Parliament for our issue. We are going to be starting the speeches at 1:30, so we've got a bit of time now, but you're all brilliantly early, which is fantastic. So what I would like to suggest you do is turn to the person to your left.
Thank you all for coming. If there's one thing that's going to influence this miserable government of ours, it is public opinion. And the fact that you're here, you're showing what you believe in, and that matters, okay? Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. Before that, though, I want to thank not only you for being here. One or two names I'll mention. Dan Abbott is here. Yvette Cooper is here. Vanessa Redgrave is here. Quite a long list, I can't remember them all. Forgive me if I don't go through them. Okay? What's happening in Parliament is, as far as I know, we'll be getting to the amendment tomorrow afternoon. Okay? We weren't sure today or tomorrow afternoon. You know what's happened. In 2018, we got the government to accept a motion in Parliament that there should be child refugees who got family here should go on being able to join them even after we've left the EU. And for some reason, the government has pulled that out of the bill it's going through. It makes them seem nasty and horrible. Who could be against children joining their family, whether it's parents or relatives or spouses? That's what we're about. It's a very, very simple request indeed. It's basically humanitarian, and I'm ashamed this country is doing what it's doing. It's a scandal. It's not being done. It's not being done in our name. I don't know why they're doing it, but it's horrible. And we've got to let them know it's horrible, and we've got to challenge what they're doing. Okay? So, if you still have time, get on to your MPs. And the good ones are here. There's some pretty good ones that are not here as well. But get on to your MPs and say, could they go on supporting, or could they support family reunion for child refugees? It's the simplest thing in the world to ask for. It's the simplest thing in the world to do. For heaven's sake, where are we if we don't support that? Okay? So thank you for being here, and thank you to Safe Passage and Help Refugees and the other organisations that are here. Thank you for Stand Up to Racism, for coming and supporting this event. Thank you for being here. Please, the fight will go on. This is not a one-party thing. We're trying to make it acceptable, supported by all parties across the spectrum. And that is important as well for us to show we've got people on our side. And let me say this finally. I believe the majority of British people, if the argument is put to them, support the idea that child refugees should be welcomed here. Okay? And that is public opinion. We've got to go on having public opinion on our side. You're all public opinion, you're influential. Let's go on doing that, and we're going to hear some more speakers here. Thank you for your support this afternoon.
And I want us to think about the children today, living in unsafe places, vulnerable, without their parents across the world, escaping war, escaping hunger. I think you are here for them, and I want to thank you for them, and let us keep them in our thoughts today. But as we back the Lords tomorrow to pass this amendment, I have to tell you, I have to let you into a secret. I don't trust Boris Johnson. And there's a little bit of evidence. First of all, they told us that the amazing amendment that our friend Alf Dubs achieved, they haven't implemented. They've gone back on their promise. They haven't even implemented the law. That's a disgrace. Then we had the Vulnerable Children's Resettlement Scheme. They haven't even met their promises in that. And as we leave the European Union, they're pulling out of the Dublin Agreement, which would have enabled families to be reunified. And they've opposed attempts by different parliamentarians, including my Liberal Democrat friend Baroness Sally Hanway, to pass legislation to require the UK to adopt the same legal approach to child refugees as every other country in Europe, bar two. It is frankly a national scandal that this government is opposing these humane laws to protect the most vulnerable children in our world. So we will make our voice heard. And it is so good to see progressive people out here today. And I want progressive people, progressive parties to work together. The children are waiting for us. Let us be there for them. Thank you so much for coming.
Here to support this important amendment and this important campaign, and to assure you of the Labour Party support, not just in the House of Lords, but when it comes back to the House of Commons. I have visited refugee camps all over Europe, Calais, of course, Lebanon, and in Greece. And you cannot overstate the horrific conditions people are in these refugee camps, including the children. Now, you may read or hear about a refugee crisis. Let me tell you, there is not a refugee crisis. There is a crisis of Western countries like Britain not fulfilling their legal obligations to refugees. That is the crisis. And the way to solve that situation is to have more safe and legal...
When the history books are written, will go down as the decade probably in the post-war period where Britons have carried out more introspection and questioned more about who we are and what type of country we want to become. And there are always people pushing and pulling in different directions. And 2 weeks ago, people over there on the government benches tried to answer that question by saying we will not be a country that reaches out to child refugees. Well, let us stand here now and say no. We will be a country that shows compassion. We will be a country that shows kindness and understanding. And we will be a country that does its fair share and rescues people in the most difficult predicaments. That's the Britain we're fighting for, and that's the Britain we're going to be, and they're not going to let us change Britain.
It's a pleasure to be here and to speak on behalf of the SNP, but to join such a distinguished group of speakers from all parties and of none. It's absolutely amazing to see so many of you here this afternoon on a cold January afternoon at such short notice. And I think that speaks volumes about the passion that you have for this cause, passion that we all have for this cause. And at its core, what this cause is all about, I think, is it's about compassion for, it's about caring for, it's about showing just a little bit of love for some of the most vulnerable children on the planet. We live in one of the most wealthy countries on earth. We live in one of the most wealthy continents on the planet. And that means it is a crying shame, in fact it's a disgrace, that there are so many thousands of children who are alone, who are vulnerable and in desperate need of help. And all we are asking is that our government steps up to the plate and does its share and fulfills its moral obligations to these children. That is not much to ask, just to reunite them with their family here in the UK. Now the government says it's going to do that regardless.
All that we're trying to do backing Alf's amendment is to carry on doing what Britain has always done, which is to support some of the most vulnerable children in the world. Everybody has the right to a family, to care for them, the most basic things that everybody needs, to have a home and shelter. And when you're a child, to have the chance to be able to just be in school or be in college and to have the chance of a better future. The work that Safe Passage has done.
We are standing in the light of peace. We are standing in the light of peace. We are standing in the light of peace. We are standing, we are standing, we are standing in the light of peace. We are standing, we are standing, we are standing in the light of peace. We are humble, we are humble. humble, kayeni kwekos. We are humble, we are humble, we are humble, kayeni kwekos. We are humble, we are humble, we are humble, kayeni kwekos. We are humble, we are humble, we are humble, kayeni